I'm Gloria Strode and welcome to Straightforward. Today I have my awesome friend who is not only a survivor but a thriver, the one and only Susie Chandler Brown. Susie, welcome.
Hi, Gloria.
This is a new year.
It is.
And we have things to celebrate.
We do.
We started a journey about 2 years ago.
Correct.
And look at us. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
We haven't taken that trip around the world yet.
Not yet.
But
you are
healthy and ready to go.
Yes, I am.
So 2 years ago, of course, we've known each other for about 30 years now,
yes.
Over 30 years. And in your other life, I like to say you were a journalist.
I was.
For 25 years.
And I like to think a part of that is still with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, you were actually a quiet storm. Your writing style and your people skills, people probably didn't realize that you were really the force behind a lot of the production and activity that went on with the newspaper.
Yeah,
so
I like to think I was a valuable part of the team.
Oh, absolutely. So you came straight out of the other ASU, the one
Alabama State University.
The one in Montgomery.
Yes.
And came as this young, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young journalist.
Yes.
To Columbus.
Ms. Gertis, Kara Gertis, saw something in me and decided to take a chance on this fresh out of college journalism student and decided to give me my first real job in the media.
Really?
Yeah.
Your first professional job.
That's right, and I will always be grateful for her to that.
And then her mother, Mrs. Ophelia DeVore Mitchell,
exactly.
who was legendary on the Grace Del Marco booking agency and all of the African-American stars and Sidney Poitier and Cicely Tyson and all of those,
yes.
Some of her proteges. And so you had the pleasure, because Ms. Mitchell owned the paper.
She did.
Yeah, and
she
so
did.
you had the pleasure of working for Ms. Mitchell.
Meeting and working along with her also.
And you
yes.
learned a lot from her.
I truly did. I did.
And after 25 years, you moved over to corporate America, and you've had a lot of success there. So I'm not surprised, because everyone that knows you know that it's going to be 110%.
Every day.
Every day.
All day, every day.
And the other Browns, the other two DJ Browns, they make sure of that.
Yes, they do.
You all have a very high bar in your family. I have to laugh about that. But
they keep me going.
They keep you going.
They keep
Make
me going.
sure you're really on task.
Yes.
But 2 years ago, we had a diagnosis. And we
did.
didn't expect it.
No?
We did not. Just kind of out of the blue.
Out of the blue, going about living life, no caution signs, no yellow lights blinking. It just happened. And I understand that it's that way with a lot of people. It's not like you sit down and you say, I could go to the doctor and you say, you know what, I might just come back with a cancer diagnosis. That's not how it works. It's just, out of nowhere, it comes. I think when 2 years ago, or coming up on 2 years ago, when it happened for me, it didn't shake me to my core, or it didn't throw me out of that place that I was. Now, it did cause some concern, and I'm not saying the journey was easy. I'm just saying it may have caused me to stumble, but it didn't make me fall, and it didn't break me. And I attribute that not through anything of my own, just through my faith in the love of Jesus.
Yes. Well, just remarkably, you had been on that journey before with those closest to you. Your baby, the one and only DJ, who is now at the Alabama A&M University.
Yes, he is.
And his dad, DJ.
Yes.
All of you have had a cancer diagnosis.
Exactly.
And DJ was the Miracle Network. And I say this every time. When I think of DJ, it's hard for me to accept that he's a man, because in my mind, he's still the little boy in the red T-shirt that you would see at the checkout at Walmart.
Yes, he's 20 years old now.
Right. So DJ was diagnosed first.
Yes, he was, when he was only 4 years old. He was diagnosed with Wilms tumor, which is cancer of the kidney.
Really?
Yes, it is, and it involved removing one of his kidneys, as a matter of fact. He went through a 7-hour surgery and followed up with a regimen of chemotherapy and the whole gamut that followed that. So I saw him go through it. I saw how he handled it, and believe it or not, this situation was one of those situations where the child taught the parent.
Right.
And I appreciate him for that, because even at his young age, he may not understood what was going on, but he knew his body was sick. He knew he was sick. But even the days when he was at his sickest, he still found something to smile about. Every day he would get up with the same thing. Mama, what I got to smile about today? And we would come up, he would drink juice and he would say, oh, the juice tastes good, let's smile. So any little thing he could pull from a situation.
He had the right spirit.
He did.
He had the right spirit. I remember you sharing with me when he was at a very sick place and he couldn't eat. So he would say, Mama, just take me down and let me smell the food.
That's right. For 7 days, he couldn't have any solid food. So he could smell the food from the cafeteria while he was in the hospital. So all we had to do is put him in his little wheelchair, push him down to the calf, and he would just sit there in the door and take deep breath. And as long as he could smell it, he was like, I'm good.
Really?
I can go back to my room now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
And so that helped you all to cope as parents, and especially your one and only child, your first child, to have that happen just out of the blue.
Yes.
Out of the blue. Not expecting it. He
was
delivered regular, I mean, just a normal birth, and then at 4 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we get this diagnosis.
Yes.
But he had the right spirit and the attitude.
He did.
As a child, which transferred over to the dad and the mom.
I tell you, it was a time when it was like I said, a time when the child, we learned from the parents learned from the child.
And we know from our faith, a little child shall lead them.
Exactly.
And sometimes if we could just see things through the eyes of a child, really, because sometimes with adults we just bring too much.
When you strip away all the extra and just get down to the basics, I think that's the way I did it. I stripped away all the, you get all this information, you're bombarded with, other experiences, and you have all this information and you do your own research. But at the end of the day, when you strip all of that away, it makes it easy. You can see clear. It gives you clarity. So with me, it's instead of like this big ball of confusion.
Right.
That's why I handle. You just go back to the basics
and keep it simple.
Yes.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Well, what we're going to do is go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
All right.
All right. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park Drive, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, West Washington Street, Eufaula, and Spring Street in Warm Springs. Vanessa Jackson's District 3 Successful Scholars Program, supporting students in achieving academic excellence, outstanding citizenship, positive social and cultural growth, believing in success for kids. Dr. Sheikha Shaw Family Medicine, connecting your health to your future. Dr. Shaw prides herself in providing compassionate health care and establishing long-lasting relationships. Conveniently located at 2827 Warm Springs Road, Suite 3B. Call her today at 706-324-4177. B&O Services, consumer-focused personal care homes, providing innovative and integrated services for persons with developmental disabilities. Creating quality experiences with a loving hands approach. For more information, call 706-330-1826 or visit bnoservices.com. And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my conversation with my awesome friend, the one and only Susie Chandler Brown. Susie, I tell you, when I first met you, you were this young, talented, unmarried
Yes.
young woman with such a bright future. You now are an awesome mom,
Thank you.
wonderful wife, an excellent corporate person.
Okay. All right. You are too kind.
No, I mean, really, you are. Your success, you worked in journalism, went on to another career, and you have really thrived there. But I want to go back to what we were talking about before we went to the
Yes.
break. And, of course, your first family diagnosis was DJ, the baby.
Yes.
And he was the Miracle Network child. And then the next experience was your husband,
It was.
Donald Sr.
Yes.
So what happened with that?
I think because we had gone through the experience with DJ, my baby, and then with my husband, I looked at myself, I was the greatest caretaker. So imagine my surprise when the caretaker needed some caretaking.
Exactly.
I think more than anything else, that was the hardest part for me, because having to accept something from someone else when I was so accustomed to being the one.
Being the savior.
Yes.
Yes.
I was taking the temperatures. I was making sure everyone doctor's appointments were lined up. I was making sure they had what they needed to be good. And then when it came time for me to be on the opposite end of that spectrum, it was actually kind of hard. I didn't make a real good patient, admittedly
you were
so.
accustomed to running things.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would have my calendars. I knew where, I knew where we were supposed to be on this day and at this time, and everything was just organized to a point. And then all of a sudden, it was at one point where, I would ask my husband for my calendar, and he was like, "Why?"
Right. Because you have to keep up with
'Cause I
everything.
had to-
Well, I
Yes.
remember that because I went to some doctor's appointments with you, and you had your notepad.
Yes.
I will never forget that. And as the doctor would talk, you would write things, and then you did research in advance. So
Yes, I had my questions
you had
ready.
Your questions ready,
Yes.
and
I think that's a throwback from that journalistic background where note-taking, because I know now when you're doing reporting, it's not so important. You take notes, you record every conversation. But as for me, I came from the old school.
Need to take some notes
I came from the old school
Yeah.
part of reporting, and I
Right.
would take notes, detailed notes. So I think that carried over, and it helped me a lot, because sometimes when people are saying something, you can hear it, but you don't grasp it.
Right, you don't understand.
You don't understand it,
Exactly.
and sometimes you can hear no. But as long as I got it written down, I can refer back to it, and I say, "Oh, they said this," or "Oh, they said to do this." So that even now, in the course of a day, I still write
things
basically
down.
everything down.
Right,
Yes.
and we rely too much on technology, and sometimes things get lost in transition. For example, if you send an email, if people, depending on how they're feeling, they receive it a certain way, or text messages. If you really want to be misunderstood,
Yes.
text or email people, because however they're feeling is how they receive it, and that might not be what the intent is.
I'm still a letter writer.
Oh,
so
I know
how old school that is.
I know that you are.
I still like to write letters.
Well, I know that. Of course, when my sister passed away, you wrote me this wonderful long letter, and you said, read it as often as you need to. I know, and we had spoken on the phone, and there were other ways for us to communicate, but that was priceless.
Yeah.
That was. But in your health care, you had been the caregiver for your baby and your husband.
Yes.
So here we were on this journey with you. As far as I could see, you did pretty good. Until Don told us we were talking too much in the doctor's office. We turned it into a social event.
But you have to understand that was all part of the process. It was part of my healing. The socialization, the laughter. As long as we could keep laughing, as long as we could keep talking, that for me was part of the healing process. It wasn't just,
hopelessness, gloom and doom.
No.
Yeah.
It was all part of the process, and I welcome that.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for it.
Well, even the doctor, and I remember being in the room, you said, "Do you feel comfortable?" I was like, "Do you feel comfortable?" "Yeah, I want to come in the room." But even the doctor, he was just amazed at your spirit, and he wanted you to talk to and encourage other patients. and just explain, because you always looked good, you know, and that's why you have to be careful when you say people don't look sick. A lot of the traditional things that happen to people when they're in the cancer fight, you never look like that. I mean, we still ate Mexican food. We still ate Thai food.
Sad to say, you know, I can honestly say I kind of ate my way through. I kind of ate my way through a lot of days, and there were days. Don't think I'm taking this lightly. There were days when, honestly, they weren't my better days.
Right.
However,
you pushed.
I knew my Sunday was coming, and that gave me the strength to get through whatever I was going through.
Right.
I knew Sunday was coming, and that way I could get through any week because of any day I was going through.
Right.
And there were times when I really didn't feel well, physically or mentally. But one thing I never forgot to do, and that was I never forgot to pray, and I was never too sick to pray.
Right.
Even if I could just call on the name of Jesus.
Just one
and I know
time.
some
Yes.
people say, you know, you overdo the thing when it comes to, you know, talking about your faith, and I don't think I can overdo it.
Oh, no.
I don't.
No.
I mean,
actually, one of the physicians said something to you about
exactly,
that.
because anytime I would have to go in a waiting room and I would have to wait, I would always get out my pen and paper, and I would write down either my favorite scriptures or just and one of the nurses even told me, she said, you would mind not taking that with you, just leaving it for the next patient to read?
Really?
And I thought it was just my ramblings, and I didn't know people were coming behind me reading what I had written.
Encouragement.
Yes,
to give
always
them
words of encouragement, mostly to myself. But then I realized they were also helping other people. Because I would write a letter to myself. Sometimes
Really?
I had to encourage Susie Brown.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got to do this.
I had to do it.
One of the things that we used as a motivator is that DJ was getting ready to be a freshman. And we were like, no, devil, you will not have this victory, because DJ will be a freshman at Alabama A&M. And so what is his classification now?
He's now a sophomore.
He's a sophomore.
Yes,
So we're in that
sophomore.
second year.
Yes, he is.
We're in that second year.
Yes.
And he's joined engineering.
Engineering fraternity. Yes.
So he is really focused. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, go to our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Okay. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. The Hugel Foundation, enriching the community through Christian music support, community outreach, and the Georgia Through Photography Project. For more information, call B at 706-568-6431. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Best Care, transforming minds and bodies, leading the way in the latest techniques of medical weight loss and wellness. Certified in family medicine and bariatrics, Dr. Blunt is ready to assist in the transformation of your mind and body. Call today, 706-221-6477, or visit bestcarecolumbus.com. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life. State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front line for veterans every day.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my conversation with my awesome friend, ride or die, Susie Chandler Brown.
There she is.
Yes, you are. I tell you, you're that friend that even if you don't talk to every day, you know that they're there. You know they're praying for you. They're praying for your family.
Exactly.
They want you to be successful. You know, it's not just about what's happening with you. You care about what's happening with others. And that's what makes you so special. And that's how you were able to be a part of the Columbus Times newspaper family for 25 years. I mean, not only were you a journalist, you helped raise the children, and I mean, they could trust you with the business. They could go on vacation and knew that the paper was in good hands, you know, and that says a lot when you have folks that's on your team that even if you're not there, they're going to treat it like it's theirs.
Yes.
And so, I mean, you're credible.
That's why I say I always have to go back to Miss Gertis. I truly can say she really did, took the time, because she didn't have to do it. She could have just hired me and to the middle, you know, but she took the time to kind of groom and train me in the business, and not just for the newspaper part of the business. She would, you know, whatever she saw was wrong, she would kind of like pull me to the side and, you know, like
coaching.
Yes.
And mentorship.
However, she did it in the most gracious way.
And that is what helped you with the corporate position that you're doing right now. So had not you had that 25 years of training at the historic Columbus Times newspaper on Buena Vista Road,
that's right,
then you would not be prepared for working with the corporate role that you have now, that have you flying from coast to coast.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but it's true. Because actually at one time, Tali and I were flying into Los Angeles, which is his home. You were flying out. And we didn't even know it. And you just called me up and you said, hey. And I was like, hey, we coming and you're going. So,
I was.
So that was sowing the seeds. Miss Gertie sowed into you. You developed and you were able to take those skills. But you were a willing person to learn.
I was.
Right. You wanted to learn everything, and that's what you need to do in your craft.
Exactly.
Right. And it makes you better.
Yes.
It makes you better.
I've always, I go back to the lighting the candles instead of cursing the darkness kind of thing. And I even brought that over into my diagnosis. It would be easy to curse the darkness because there are dark days and there are dark times. But I've always kind of prided myself on my ability to light candles, even in the darkest area. And I find that when I do that, I do better. And when I do better, the people around me kind of, you know, pick up on it and they do better.
It's bringing the light. And that's the thing with you that I like. Even whatever the lowest, if I'm not making the best decision, you have a gift of redirecting people without just calling them out and say, you know, I thought about this and maybe it should be that. And of course, your biggest challenge is DJ now is a man. He's a sophomore in college.
Yes.
He, you know, living away from home.
Yes.
And you're not as flexible because that's your baby. Yeah, so I have to kind of coach you on that.
You do. That was a big challenge for me.
Right.
Having to, like my husband often reminds me, you can't raise him to be an eagle and then want to throw stones around his neck when he starts to fly.
Right.
So I have to constantly remind myself that he is 20 years old. He's no longer my little 3-year-old DJ.
Right.
And
with his doctor, he took control of his own medical.
Yes, he did.
And he was like, Mama, I don't really need you to go. I can handle this. So he went from the children's oncology.
From pediatric oncology into adult oncology.
And he was able to talk
Make
to
that
the
transition and talk to his own doctors.
And understand and take a part in his own health care.
He does. He understands what he can and what he cannot do. He can repeat his medical history just like I can repeat it.
So it won't have to be Mom there. He's away at college if something happens.
Yes.
He can speak for himself.
Yes, he can.
And that's important. You've prepared him.
He does that.
And even with the daddy. So Dad had some little visits he needed to do to get all our little checkups in. And the end and beginning of the year. And what did DJ tell you? Go to work. I got this.
I got this.
So that's what you train him for.
That's true.
You know, that's a sign of success.
That's
true. And so you tell me all the time, even though DJ, Don, your husband, and yourself, you're all cancer survivors, but you are thrivers.
Yes.
You all just don't exist. You live life to the fullest.
True. You know, it would be easy to get mired down and say, you know, what could have been or what will be. And we are people who live in the day. You know, you take each day and you live it as full as you can. You live it as best you can. And along the way, if you realize you're just not doing it for yourself, but someone else who might see your light, who might be down in the valley, and might see your light and get encouraged or inspired, because I feel the same. I see other people. Some days I look and just a smile from someone can lift you. It doesn't even have to be directed at you. I love to see other people
just
happy
positive
and
energy.
Yes.
And if we all do good, it's better for everyone.
Exactly.
And we all go forward together.
Exactly.
Right.
And not just so concerned about you and your circle, because you and your circle can't survive unless that circle around you is surviving. So it's not like I got to make sure my child does this, or I got to make sure I'm doing this, because if that child sitting beside my child is not doing as well, then guess what? It's still going to fall back on him. So it's not like you can just concern yourself with your little circle and you know, the people you come in contact with. That's why when I say my prayers, Lord have mercy. You know, sometimes I can stay down long enough to start my knees hurting.
Because I know your list is so long. Because not only do you want what's great for you and your family, but DJ's friends and your neighbors. And if everybody is doing good, it makes it great for everyone.
Exactly.
Right. So if people want you to come and speak, of course, we've had you with the Hannah and Sarah to ministry with Minister Caldwell and the Women's Retreat to tell your story about surviving, not just you, but your husband and your son.
And that still amazes me, that anyone, because when you first called me about this, I was like, Gloria, what do I have to say?
Oh, it's a wonderful testimony, because most people could never survive their child, their husband, and them having a cancer diagnosis. But give us your contact information. What is your email in case someone wants to call you and have you speak?
You can reach me at 706-888-6308. And of course, my email is sue@ctvea.net.
All right. Well, you are awesome. I want you to stay in the fight. I want you to continue to be an encourager and an uplifter, because that's exactly what you do for anyone that comes in contact with you, because your light is always shining. And I want to publicly thank you so much for being our friend and supporter for over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Thank you. This has been Straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.